Hi, my name is Richard Gotzel. I'm a member of the Great Commission Alliance. Here's my Bible Byte for today. We are living in anxious times. The unknown, things are not the same. Where are we going as a country, as a church? Where am I heading? What am I going to do with my life? Anxiety leads to doubts, fears, and depression. So, what does the Apostle Paul say about being anxious? 3 times Paul was shipwrecked. And he once spent a full day, a night and a day, as he puts it, out in the open sea. Other problems along the way? Yeah. Tried being stoned and scourged 5 times, being beaten with fists and rods and words. He'd been scored and chased and scandalized and slandered. He'd been the focus of riots and even death threats. And after one harrowing near-death experience, he was even bitten by a snake. Huh. Just think, all that before his first cup of coffee. Yeah, I'm just joking. In reality, Paul's work changed the world. In places like Athens and Ephesus and Corinth, the once powerful temples and the religion of the Greek gods that so dominated his culture are now in ruins. And yet billions have and are reading Paul's letters, memorizing passages, and following the instructions as if Paul was still preaching his passionate message in our culture. From a practical aspect, this is one of the most obvious reasons Paul had such a successful career. Because he learned how to defeat stress. He was able to function successfully in some very stressful situations. In fact, he seemed to thrive in situations that would have left many people immobilized with anxiety, anger, or even discouragement. Never did Paul show the way more clearly than the night he and Silas sang at the bottom of that prison, backs bleeding and bruised, while singing a song there and then. In Philippians chapter 4, verses 4 through 7, it says, "Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." Wow. Can you see yourself being in that prison and shackled and still hurting from the scourging, bleeding, and yet you and your friend sitting there singing praises to God? Wow, what kind of faith is that? So let's break it down. The one thing that Paul said, first thing, was that choose to rejoice no matter the circumstances. And any of us can sing on a good day. We can sing in the shower, in the car, everything else. But what happens on a bad day? What Paul and Silas had and what we can have was extraordinary joy, rejoices no matter what happens to be going on at the time, even if the heart is breaking right in the middle of the song. None of us can escape the sharp pain or even the crushing grief in some of life's worst circumstances. But any of us can, even in that hour, choose to rejoice. Paul and Silas did in that Philippian jail. It's both good news and bad news that in the hour of difficulty, people are watching and are listening more than ever to know if your faith in Christ is genuine. To put it simply, they want to know if your faith works. You see, anyone's faith can work on a good day. But when the chips are down, they'll know whether or not your faith is the real deal, and they'll watch very closely. Therefore, you must not go into that hour of crisis without a genuine, maturing faith. You'll only be able to rejoice in a difficult hour if your relationship with God is real. And to quote Paul directly, again, I say rejoice. The second thing is that we need to secure your foundation in Christ alone. Rejoice how? In your own strength? Never. Rejoice in the Lord always, Paul writes in Philippians 4:4. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say rejoice. A moment later, he gives us a fourfold reminder to pray about the things you need. In everything, Paul writes, by prayer, by petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. See, we need to develop the discipline of saying no to anxiety. This is not nearly as complicated as we've often made it out to be. If you're anxious about an issue, you've been thinking about the thing that makes you anxious. If you'd like to stop being anxious, you'll have to intentionally think about other things. This will take a great amount of discipline. Paul was crystal clear in his instructions. He says in Philippians 4:8-9, finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things, and the God of peace will be with you. How many anxious thoughts about rumors that aren't true have ruined otherwise perfectly good days? Think only on things that are true. What's noble? Think on it. What's right and pure? That leaves out things that are wrong and impure. And come to think about it, that would be a good move for any of us. Think of the lovely and admirable, the excellent and the praiseworthy. Think about these things, Paul said. You know, there are times that I feel anxious myself. Times where am I going to be able to pay the bills? Or that my children recently had COVID. That friends of mine are dealing with death. And then counseling people who are going through tough times. As they share their anxieties, as they share their depression, as they share anything, comes to me and they're looking for me for answers. And I thank God that God supplies words or actions during those times. And so I've learned to lean upon the Lord during those times, to rejoice that I've been chosen by him in order to live for him and to be able to touch people's lives. Part of dealing with anxiety is to face it and to move forward. Just as Paul and Silas were facing that jail cell, they praising God. And through that process, the Philippian jailer came to know the Lord. And they were freed through that earthquake. You know, they were free before the earthquake. They were free from anxiety before then because they relied upon God and his strength, not theirs. Well, thank you for listening. I'll see you next time. God bless you.